My name is Shanae George. I'm a psychotherapist and founder of Culture Minds Therapy. My role is to take therapy outside of the office and to you all at home. I bring to you the mind behind your favourite guests. We speak about mental health, therapy and self-care. Thank you for coming. How are you feeling on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being extremely happy?
7.5.
I love the half bit. Why did you add the half?
Because 7's a bit meh. 7.5 means we're getting there. We're getting close to 10.
So hopefully by the end of the interview we'll get to
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10?
10 out of 10.
Yes, that's it, that's what I like. I want to give a shout out first of all to your little baby sister.
Mm-hmm.
You know that mum has just had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
How is she?
She is amazing. She fits right in.
Oh,
yeah.
Lovely.
Everyone is like obsessed with her. So
Mm.
she has like loads of hands always trying to pick her up. Everyone's like fighting over her. She
How old
fits
is she
in.
now?
4 months, 4.5 months. She's like 4.5 months, yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Tiny.
And how's mum? We give a shout
Mum's
out
good.
to mum.
Shout out, mommy.
Shout out mum.
She's good.
How's mum?
She's good.
She's good.
She's very good, yeah.
When did I interview her? Was it during lockdown times?
Mm-hmm.
It was when I first interviewed her, and I remember you reminded her because she was running a bit late.
Mm-hmm.
And I interviewed her. It was an amazing interview. I've always been inspired by mum.
Yeah.
And I guess today I want to be inspired by you.
Mm.
I want to get to know you because your mum is lovely. She's a superstar. She's great things.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to get to know you. So, what would you say about yourself to people who don't know who you are and what you do? How would you introduce yourself?
I would say I am a big sister. That's number one. That's like my number one job.
I like that.
And I also create content on the side. I do TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Yeah, just content creation.
Lovely. And do you have a theme of the type of content that you create?
I'd say it like varies. So like on Instagram, it's a lot of self-care, you know, looking after yourself, feed the mind. And then TikTok's very random. It's like whatever comes to mind, whatever I'm thinking about. And then a lot of people relate and I'm not a weirdo anymore because there's like everyone who does these things as well. So
you mentioned not a weirdo. Have you ever felt like a weirdo?
Sometimes when things pop in my head like day to day, I'm like, is that normal? And sometimes I make a TikTok video about it and then like loads of other people are like, oh my God, I thought it was just me. Okay. And I'm like, yes.
Do you have an example of that?
Like the fact that like, so someone the other day was like to me, like, I filmed a video in my bathroom and I had Dettol on the side and they were like, why'd you, like, and they were like, oh, like, why, I poured it in the bath and they were like, why are you putting it in the bath? It's a cleaning product. And I was like, hold on, does everyone not use Dettol? Like, has everyone, like, is it weird? Yeah. Anyway, so I made a TikTok about it and there's literally like millions of people like, no, we all use Dettol too. I was like, oh, thank God. But yeah, apparently it's not as weird as I thought it was. Yeah, no. Like everyone uses Dettol.
Again, is it a cultural thing though? Because
I think it's a cultural thing. Yeah, like I just thought, but I thought everyone did it. I thought it was like very normal.
Did you find out the demographics of the people who didn't do it?
Yeah,
was it
I realised that it's just some people
certain
don't.
Demographics who do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I grew up with Dettol a little bit. Like you put it in
a little bit in a little cap. Yeah, you meant to put it in a cap. I just put it, but you are meant to put it in the cap. Yeah.
That's interesting. But then again, it's nice because, as you said, you thought it was weird, but it just shows your uniqueness.
Yeah.
Is what brings people to you, and is what makes people want to get to know you more.
Yeah.
And one of the things for me is, as I said before, we know about Mum. She's a singer-songwriter. She's been doing amazing things, and living in the spotlight of Mum, or having a mum who is so high profile, a celebrity public figure, how does that make you feel?
That's actually an interesting question. How does it make me feel? I think it's one of those things where it's like, you feel like you always have like an underlying responsibility. So I can't, there's just certain things, this is that I can't, in my head I'm like, I can't do these things because I'm a representation of my mom.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we're always a representation of your mom anyway, or with parents or whatever, even though you are your own person. But at the same time, my actions will have different consequences. And even for myself, as someone who is now someone known in the public, I also will have different consequences. So I just have to be cautious of what I'm doing. But I don't see it as a negative thing. I just see it as this is a chosen, something, you know, I just have a responsibility. Like the other day I was out and this woman was like, she saw me and she was talking to me and she was like, you know, like my daughters, like they follow you. And I was like, Jesus, like, okay, I have people's kids watching me. So I need to make sure I can still be myself, but I just need to be wary that I have a responsibility and it's fine. I don't mind.
Do you feel pressure? So with that responsibility, as you said, there's certain things that you can do or can't do, obviously because of your mum, but also because of who you are as well, and your morals.
Yeah.
Do you feel pressure to be a certain way if it's not in alignment of who you necessarily are generally?
I feel like I just feel pressure in general, like in a lot of different areas. But like where my mom's concerned, yeah, I definitely do feel of pressure because it's like, even though people don't ask it straight away, it's like the energy sometimes when people is, oh, so what are you going to do? Like your mom did this, what are you going to do? I'm just like, I don't know. Like, it's like, even if you did have an idea, with the pressure of people constantly reminding you that, you know what, like now's your time to do something, or, you know, like by this time your mom was doing this, and it's like, we've all got different paths type of thing.
So do you often get that?
Yeah.
When people comparing you to your mum?
It's not so much comparison, but more an expectation. So, and they do say it lightheartedly, but it's like, it still does make you think every time, you know, if you go somewhere and people are like, oh, so are you going to sing? Or are you going to do this? Or are you going to, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know yet.
And how does that make you feel when people ask you, are you going to sing? Are you going to, you know, do what your mum has done? How does that make you feel?
I understand why they're asking the question, so I don't really get like hurt by it, but sometimes you do get like, you do feel pressure to be like, all right, hurry up, make a decision. Like, what are you doing? Hurry up, kind of thing.
Yeah, I can imagine, you know, it must be fun. And as you said, you respect your mum's career and what she's done. But then it must be also difficult because you get the questions, you get the people wanting to know, oh, what are you going to do? When your mum was to say she was doing this.
Yeah.
What's it like living in a household predominantly filled with women? Literally.
I love it. It's just like a safe space, to be honest. It's just, yeah, it just feels very safe. I feel like in every area, like with it, like in life, I always try and find safety. It's like a very important thing for me. And especially like for children, I always want children to feel safe. And when I was little, like sometimes I was in situations where I wasn't safe. And so like my thing is like, I want to be safe all the time. I want everyone else to be safe. So I always try and create safe spaces. So like even when I make content, like I'm like, all right, let me give someone a space where they feel like, oh, she understands what I mean, or yeah, I can come here, that type of thing. So yeah.
Talk to me a bit more about safety.
Safety.
And maybe what happened when you were younger that's kind of heightened this safety element where you feel you always need to be safe. Well, we always need to be safe.
Yeah, but feeling like you need to be safe. So like when I was like growing up, I feel like there were some times where, okay, say if it was like on my dad's side of the family, I wasn't really, like sometimes I was in unsafe situations where I feel like as a child, you shouldn't really be put in certain situations. So you feel unsafe in that way. And then like on the flip side with my mom being like in the public eye at the same time, it's like, you have to stay here because these outside people, there's always outside people trying to get in. So it's like, you have to stay safe, you have to stay safe, you have to stay safe. And so I feel like both of them measured up, even though one was actually trying to keep me safe, it also gives you like a sense of fear of anything outside. So you automatically feel like, oh my God, I have to do this, I have to stay safe all the time. But now I feel like I find a balance and I know what like I need and yeah, just what's important. Just staying safe physically, mentally, like, is very important to stay safe. Yeah.
We were talking off camera, and one of the things you said was you're always at home, and that's your safety net. And you find it quite boring. Talk to me a bit about that and why you find yourself staying at home more than being out there.
I feel like every time I go outside, there's always something that makes me feel like, oh, I should have stayed inside. Whether it's people, I sometimes get anxious with the fact that people know who I am and I don't know who they are. So the fact that people can notice me and have information about me and I won't know. And it's like, I do understand, because I do put myself out there, and obviously I'm my mum's child, but at the same time, it makes you quite anxious. Like, I have quite bad social anxiety. I didn't used to have it, I didn't always have it, but like, as I got older, I started to have it. And so I just like staying inside. It's just like, nothing will happen to me if I'm inside. No one's gonna bother me, no, do you know what I mean? Which could be damaging, because you don't really learn how to socialise properly. However, I feel like I do have enough experiences socialising. However, don't like trust a lot of people, so that makes it harder to want to go and do stuff. Like, I have a set group of friends. It's not really a group. I have 2 friends, and then I have my family, like my sisters, my mom, and I just stay there.
I guess it's good because you're protecting yourself.
Yeah.
But then I think to myself, when you're older, is that the person you want to be, where you're staying at home all the time, or do you want to venture out?
So I will. I just have to make sure I'm safe. So if I'm going to go somewhere, I'll go with people that I know will look after me. It doesn't always have to be like, oh, nothing's going to happen, but it's just like, if something does happen, am I in the best space? Does this person have my best interests at heart? Do you know what I mean? Is this person going to put me in a position where something could happen? So it's like, even situations like, if I go somewhere with my friends, if I go place with people, I don't like to post where I am until I've left. It's just a safety thing. My mum does it as well. We all do it. You just don't tell people where you are until you're gone, because there's crazy people. You don't know who's actually watching you. And so if I'm around people who want to just, I'm there, they want to show that I'm there, and I just feel like, oh, that's not a safe space. But if you're around friends who know, do you know what, she wouldn't like if I did that, or let me just do this, or even just keeping things inside. You know, if you hear something inside my house, it stays in my house. Don't go telling people our business.
Like,
do you know what I mean? Yeah, like what happens in the house stays in the house. Don't go telling people business. But yeah, just little things like that, really.
Talk to me a bit more about your upbringing, because you mentioned about not being in a safe situation with both mum and both dad, which then has had an impact on how you are today. And I guess our childhood does have an impact on who we are today. What was it like growing up when you were younger?
Do you know, I actually had a really good childhood. Like, from what I can remember of my childhood, I had such a good childhood. It was totally different. So like, if I'm with my mom, there's always loads of strangers around, obviously, when I'm growing up, because it's like, there's people doing her hair, there's management, there's assistants, and it's like, you know, loads of random people. But I got to meet new people, I got to go to loads of places, I got to travel. And then I go to my dad's side of the family, it's just all family. I was free, I was treated like a normal child. You know, like there weren't people going and getting me food because I'm Jamelia's daughter, do you know what I mean? It's just go and get it yourself kind of thing. I think it was a good like balance to have. Then obviously as I got older, the situation's just kind of shifted and changed. And then I don't speak to my dad's side of the family like at all. None of them speak to me, which is fine. It's just is what it is type of situation. But yeah, as you get older, things start to shift and change. And I think because my mum is who my mum is, and I spend the majority of the time with my mum, I have a lot of her traits. If I see something that is wrong, I'm gonna say it's wrong. If I see if there's a problem, I'm gonna call it out. And if I don't agree with something, everyone's gonna know about it. And if you don't want to hear it, I'm fine to be alone. That's one thing, like my mum's always taught me. There is nothing wrong with being alone. I would rather nobody speak to me than be in a situation talking to a group of people who can't have honest conversations. So that's kind of where I'm at, type of vibe with that.
I love the fact that your mum has installed that in you, because it's fine to be alone. Because we live in a day and age where people are afraid of loneliness. People will do anything to
terrified.
just not be alone. And I guess you're almost the opposite of that. But one question for me is, do you find that because of who your mum is, people are more attracted to you or your lifestyle?
Yeah, 100%. Everyone wants to just know what's going on. Everyone wants to be involved. And me, I'm such a loving person. Like, I lead with love all the time. So I invite anyone in. I'm always like, yeah, come on, da da da. And then, well, that's how I used to be anyway. But I'll just like, yeah, sure, come. Because I just think everyone just has the same mindset as me. I feel like, why would anyone think anything else? But then as you get older, you realise that not everyone's wired the same. Not everyone was brought up the same. Not everyone has the same intentions. And so, yeah, I had to learn it the hard way, to be honest. Well, like when I was in school, it was more parents. So parents would try and push their kids onto me and my sister, like for their kids to be friends with us. And then they'd come over to our house and that type of thing. Wow. Then as I got older, it was, just people in school, college, and then now with me being online, now everyone wants to be my friend. Everyone wants to go out and, the friends that I value the most, like people I can go out with and it has nothing to do with social media. Let's just go and do something. Don't pull out your phone. Don't take a picture of me. Don't tag me, because we're here to spend time with each other. The minute I see people randomly taking out their phones and taking pictures of me, it's like an alarm goes off in my head. Wow. I'm like, nope.
That's really interesting. And I guess what are your red flags? So if you're out with someone, or it could be a close friend or someone you've just met, what would be your red flags?
I think, number one, it takes a lot. I try and read people a lot first before I meet them in person, because I'm very conscious of energy and people's energy, and there's just certain people I'm just like, oh, we can just stay speaking over the phone, because I don't think we'll match energies in real life. But if I am with someone, I have a red flag. Usually conversation, like the quality of a conversation, that's like a big red flag to me, because it's like, what do you want to talk about? Like, let's talk about real things. Let's not, I don't want to talk about other people. I don't want to gossip. I don't want to talk about drama. Like, let's talk about interesting things. Let's talk about conspiracy theories, or I love conspiracy theories. Or let's talk about food. Just anything except what's what's the word? It's basic. I hate basic conversation, and that's why I don't go on podcasts or do interviews.
I was going to ask you that.
Because
I've never seen an interview of you when I was doing my research.
Nope.
I wanted to get to know you. There's literally no interviews, nothing. Why is that? Why would you say that is?
I just don't find them safe spaces.
So
this is a safe space.
Oh, I love it.
We're in a safe space. No, I don't think they're safe spaces. I don't think they have good intentions, and I don't think the quality of what they want to discuss makes sense. There's a lot of podcasts out right now. We can't keep talking about people, and their relationships, and who's dating who. Who actually cares? Not to be rude, but who actually, why do we actually care about who people we don't know are dating? I feel like the thing with social media, my mom always tells me, you have to use it as a tool. You have to use it so that you can get something out of it. Don't just be a consumer, because once you become a consumer, you're just happy taking in everyone's business and you're not learning anything. And I feel like the minute you stop learning, you just stop growing. I don't want to stop growing, because I'm still I think I'm young. Do you know what I mean? And if I stop growing now, then I'm kind of finished. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to have the brain of a 22-year-old for the rest of my life. So.
You know what? How old are you?
I'm 21. I'm turning 22 next week.
You're so mature for your age, and I love it. And I can see your mum in you, but I can see your own individuality as well, and how you want to portray yourself, and how you want to let people know who you are. And as you said, with this being a safe space, thank you. But it's nice to know that you are very cautious about these things, because you know it's not about everybody's life. It's not about who's dating who. It's about trying to create wellness, trying to take care of your health, essentially, and growing. We never stop growing. We're always going to continue to grow. And for me, I want to ask you, how do you take care of your mental health?
Do you know what? It really varies. Okay. Like this year, no, not this year. Last year was a very hard year mentally. And I feel like what got me through was just thinking like, this is not going to last forever. I have to like convince myself, because sometimes I can get really inside myself. I can get really like, you know, deep and like down, and I can get myself to a very low point, and so I just have to keep saying, okay, it's gonna get better. Look, it's gonna get better. And even if it was just something that changed on one day, if I was like, oh look, like the sun's shining, or oh you had nice food today, like you didn't feel this way yesterday, but you feel better today, and I just keep thinking it's gonna get better, it's gonna get better, and that's basically what I do. I convince myself, which is true as well, but I have to convince myself that I'm not gonna be in this state forever, and if I am going to stay here, it's going to be because of a decision I make. It's going to be because I chose to stay here. And so it's like I have to refuse.
It's kind of like that self-talk, that positive self-talk that you're telling yourself. You mentioned that, was it last year was a really dark time for you? Yeah. What, if you don't know?
No, it's fine. So basically for the last year, I've been looking after my mom and my sisters. Even like to like hospital appointments. Mom went into hospital and I was bringing her food. I was picking up the kids from school. I was going back and forth. I was doing everything. So I basically just took over his role, and I've been doing that for like, I'm still doing it, I guess. Now my mom's better. Obviously she's not still in hospital, but even then, like I'm like the main carer of like my family. I feel like I'm like the man of the house right now.
That must be very heavy for you to have that responsibility. And I remember, I think I did a video on YouTube about adultification. So it's kind of like when we're younger, we've been made to feel that we're adults before our time, and that can have an impact on us mentally. So due to unforeseen circumstances, you've had to take that role, which anyone would take, including myself. Yeah. But how does that make you feel?
It made me feel very like my walls of like trust, obviously, were just like up. Like my walls are just up. They were up. I've started to bring them down now. I feel so much better now. But I was in a really bad space like last year, and obviously like there was one point where like my mum was in the hospital, and I'd put all my sisters to sleep, and I was in the bathroom. I had a panic attack, and then like obviously like, I was on the floor and I was having a panic attack, and I was on the floor for ages, and I got up and I remember saying like, I was thinking to myself, if I don't get up right now, everyone's gonna fall down. And I feel like when you have that kind of pressure on yourself, it's like it weighs you down. And then I spoke to my mom the next day. I knew there was nothing she could physically do to help, but I feel like speaking helps so much, because like I feel like 50% of the weight is just you carrying it alone. I genuinely feel like that. I feel like when you just talk to someone, even though it's not going to fix the problem, it will definitely make a difference. And so like now, I'm one of those people, like I keep everything inside. I'm just like, oh, I'll deal with it. But now, like where I am now, I talk to everyone about every little problem. I'm like, I got to get it off my chest. I refuse to like let it weigh me down, even if it's the smallest thing. Like even just, oh, can you move your shoes? Like, why have you left your shoes there? I will tell someone straight away, because I'm just like, can't afford to. And you know, you feel like so much time has gone. I'm really big on time. And for me, I felt like a year was taken away. Not the year itself, but an opportunity to have happiness in that year was kind of taken away. And I felt like I can't let any more time or anyone else take happy time like away. So that's like where I am.
Do you want
a hug? Yeah, let's hug.
I thank you so much for sharing that. Because I know it can be difficult, especially when you're talking about your mom and your family. It can be very difficult to kind of open up and share these things. And you are, I was going to say you're strong, but you know when you put that strong black
Oh
woman
no, we don't
of,
say that in our house.
okay.
We're not allowed to say it. We're strong women.
Okay.
Because it's something that is put on, especially black women.
Yeah, that's what
it's put on us, be strong. And usually it ties into accepting loads of rubbish that happens. And it's like, you don't want to always be strong. You should be able to be soft and peaceful and honest women. Yes. And so when you say, we don't say, oh yeah, like you're so strong. Just like, you don't want to keep enduring all these things. You don't want to go and be like, oh, look at all, because like when it's our time to go, when you think about it, when it's everyone's time to go, you're not gonna get like some extra points for all the stuff that you accepted. Do you know what I mean? For all these things that you took on. You know what I mean? It won't make a difference. So you might as well seek peace and happiness.
And just be you as well. You know, whether you're strong, whether you're soft, whether
just
you're
everything.
vulnerable.
Just be all of them.
Embrace your femininity. I love that. I love that. How are you now then? So I know you mentioned last year it was difficult having to look after your sisters and your mum. How have things changed for you now?
Things are like 1,000 times better, to be honest. For me personally, and just for all of us, like we're all just kind of getting into a new routine. My sisters are growing up and it's nice. Like one of my sisters, like they're all my baby sisters, but one of my baby sisters is turning 18 this year. And I'm just like, how? You know, when you're with people from their babies and you're like, how are you how are you turning 18? But yeah, we literally just have so many things to look forward to. Like we're moving house, you know, just new things. I feel like we're just really optimistic and we're in a position now where we're all just like, it's gonna get better. We're gonna do things and you just have to enjoy it. You can't let the past control you.
I love that. And I know you're very big on family because even when I interviewed Mum, she was talking a lot about family, her kids, and how much she loved you guys and how much she installed so much in you guys. And she mentioned about going to family therapy as well. Are you guys still in family therapy?
We're not in family therapy anymore. But
how was that?
I thought it was good. I thought family therapy was good.
Yeah.
However, there's so much, and I feel like it is a black thing.
Okay.
With black people, we have so many layers to unpack that you can never actually truly get to the bottom of something. So we can speak about a situation and we can unpack that situation. It's like, yeah, but why did you act like that? And then it's like 3 different people have about 7 different layers on why that would happen and all these things that have happened. And it's like,
it's a lot to consume.
You can deal with an issue, but there's just so much, like, even like generational trauma, things like that. Like, there's just so much like that you just feel like some of these things will never get solved or like dealt with or unpacked. So I think therapy as a whole is really good, 100%. Family therapy, I think it is good for solving problems, but not for unpacking the individual, because there's too many people. I just think there's just too many people and you can't actually get to the bottom of it.
So would you then say then, based on your experience, individual therapy to work on yourself and any underlying difficulties or struggles you're having, so then when you get to family therapy, you can be in a position where we can solve out the problems because we've worked on ourselves. Let's work on the family now. Exactly.
I feel like that's how you should go into life as well. That's why I think therapy is important. So you can step into any situation, you already know yourself, you know why you think certain things. So even if someone says something and it triggers you in your mind, you're able to be like, all right, that affected me because of this. And then you choose if you want to react or not. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just reacting straight away.
Have you been to individual therapy?
Yeah.
How was that?
I like therapy, you know, I do, because I don't talk. So it's like a space.
Outlet.
Yeah, I find it so much easier to talk to strangers. That sounds very strange, but people who don't have emotional connections to me, I find it easier to talk to them, because like, as good as it is, you know, you talk to your mum, but she'll always respond from an emotional standpoint. She'll respond like technically what she would want you to do, what she thinks is the best, rather than someone being logical. So like, I'll give you a prime example. if I say, when I was like going through a process of like problems, like with my dad's side of the family, I would talk to my mum and she'd be like, you know, like, don't worry about it and da 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 da. My therapist, I would talk to her about the same thing. She said to me, it's going to sound quite harsh, but nobody has come on this earth to be anyone to you. It's not their job. So as much as someone might be as much as like your dad might be your dad, it's not his job. He's on his own journey, it's his own life. He just happens to be your dad. And so he actually, like, he's not here to be anyone to you. And I was like, all right. But then you're like, okay, yeah, she's got a point though. As much as you have made a choice, she's just like, everyone's on their own journey. And if you think of it logically, you get less emotionally connected to a thing. And that's why I'm always like, if someone does something that I don't agree with or hurts me, as much as I'll let myself feel, I'll be like, okay, well, it's not their job. It wasn't their job to be anyone to me.
With that, I feel like we're not here to talk about your therapist, but just what you said about it's not your dad's job. For me, I kind of feel like, I feel the opposite.
You think it is?
And the reason why I say that is because it was your mum and dad who brought you here. So both have a responsibility to you. Now, they may not be able to meet that responsibility, but it's still your job. Like literally, you still have a child. So
100%. No, I definitely feel like, you have a responsibility. But at the same time, I think because I'm such an emotional person, I feel like I always need logical solutions. So I think that's more what she was trying to do. So she was more like to me, like anything I had a problem with, she's like, okay, what are you going to do? Because I will sit and cry about it for the rest of my life. I'm that type of emotional person. So I feel like I always need like actual solutions. And that's kind of how I operate now. I'm like, okay, you felt, you've cried, now what are you going to do? Yeah.
I like that. I like that in certain circumstances. I think it's good to let out your emotions, cry, but let's problem solve or what we're going to do next. I love that. Thank you for coming. I want to ask a question of what can we expect from you in the future? What are you working on?
Do you know what? Honest answer is absolutely nothing. I've not been working on anything. I've been being a big sister. That's all I've been doing, literally, for the past year. I have no plans. I don't have anything in place, and I don't have anything set up, and that's fine. That's fine for right now because I've been doing something else that I feel like is more important.
And I love that because I feel like in today's society we're so focused and so centered on the external world, on work, on everything else but family, and we tend to put family last. So the fact that you're putting your family first and just giving your energy to your family but also to yourself, that's nice, and things will work out when it's meant to work out.
100%. I just feel like we're also in a day and age where everyone seems like they're so productive all the time, and everyone has like it stresses everyone else. Everyone's like, oh, like I'm doing this today and I did this, and then, I got up and I went to the gym and then I did this and I did this, and I'm like, I just made sure my sisters have eaten, and that's fine for today. Do you know what I mean? I feel like we need to give ourselves a bit more grace sometimes and not compare ourselves to other people. What you also have to realise is that people share highlights of their life, and we look at it like, oh, look at this person's doing. It's like, no, they're just showing you the bits they want you to see. Because, for example, if I didn't tell you what I went through in the last year, you would have no idea, because I don't share that. Do you know what I mean? So you can never base someone's life on what you see. So that's why I think everyone just needs to chill out.
What's made you open up to me? Just out of curiosity.
Safe space, definitely. Because it's a safe space because I've watched your other podcasts. My mom spoke to you. If my mom says yes, I'm like, all right, cool. Because my mom, if you got one, because my mom's the most protective person of me and my sisters. Like very, very protective. Like nothing will get. If anything comes to us, it's gone past my mom first, type of thing. My mom's very protective, and so I'm like, okay, my mom spoke to you. My mom doesn't speak to anyone, so I was like, okay, cool. Okay, cool.
I feel like I'm a part of the family.
You are part of the fam. Yeah, get in there. Get in there. But yeah, and then obviously I watched your other interviews with people, And I'm like, okay, she's not asking any questions that are gonna, what's the word? I don't know what the word is. But you know, sometimes when you watch people's interviews and people ask stuff and you know what they're trying to get out of it, and it's like, you want like a story out of this, or you want something to, it's just a genuine conversation. And so I feel like that's why I just felt safe to have a conversation.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And do you know what, when I do my interviews, I am looking for stories, but I want things to be authentic and genuine. And I don't want to put anyone in a situation where they feel vulnerable and they feel scared.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want it to flow. And you know, you get the shows where they want to get the nitty-gritty information.
Yeah, they want to get
that
all the tea.
But I guess people get to know you, people get to know me, people get to know us in this setting, in this environment. And
also, when I was watching your other interviews, I realised that no one had shoes on, and I hate wearing shoes, and I was like oh my god, green flag, because it was like very comfortable.
That was Aaron's idea of intimacy and having no shoes.
It just makes you feel a bit more comfortable. And I saw it and I was like, that is actually one of the main reasons. I was like, yeah, no shoes.
All interviews.
No shoes. No shoes.
No shoes.
No
Yay!
shoes.
Oh, thank you so much.